All right, Mr. Flora, you ready?
Chairman and
All
Commissioners.
right, Commission, we're going to start the meeting again.
Chairman and Commissioners. Back in July, you tasked me to do an evaluation of the tax department and return to you with a plan by December. Over these past few months, I've been working closely with Keith Miller, who you then appointed as interim tax director. Tonight, I want to give Keith credit for the tremendous help he has provided as we work together on this evaluation and subsequent recommendation. Tonight, I'll briefly provide some background on the task we performed, our overall approach and conclusions, and finally, a recommendation for the approval and final appointments for the county's assessor and county tax collector positions. Start with the background. As we all know, we have experienced many changes these past few months. And over this time period, County Manager Mandy Stone has implemented a reorganizational strategy based on these foundational principles. And through our process, Keith and I wanted to ensure we aligned the tax department with these core values. So why are we doing an evaluation and org change now? After all, the tax department has had a track record of success. However, many changes have occurred recently. Gary Roberts, our tax director of many years, retired at the end of June. Our longtime collections manager retired a few weeks after that. We implemented 2 major software systems these past couple years, and in addition, there's been a renewed focus on internal audit and avoiding potential conflicts. Because of these factors, Keith and I recognized a need to ensure future success of the tax department by establishing an organizational framework that addresses the changing needs of our community. The approach we are taking is in 3 phases. Phase 1, we wanted to take short-term actions to shore up our position and lay the foundation for Phase 2. Phase 1 is also what I believe was your intent for me in doing an evaluation and plan for the tax department. It is what we have mostly completed and will be the focus of our recommendations later. Phase 2 involves executing a long-term strategic plan as well as involving input from all department staff. And Phase 3 is taking the strategic plan and developing a framework for monitoring performance and adapting our staff, processes, and technology for achieving success. These phases are not a once-and-done kind of process. Instead, this is a cyclical, ongoing process that we believe will lead to continuous improvement, where we are constantly planning, evaluating, and making organizational adjustments to meet the needs of our board, county operations, and the needs of our constituents. Phase 1 came with some tough decisions about our organizational structure. What over the past several years has been a regular practice of having the tax assessor and tax collector consolidated under one tax administrator position, this has now fallen out of favor. Organizations like the North Carolina Department of Revenue and School of Government have recognized there could be potential conflicts with this arrangement. That is why we are seeing many urbans like Mecklenburg, Wake, and Orange counties splitting their tax departments into 2 separate divisions. For Buncombe County, the roles between assessments and collections have been blurred over the years. We feel like the time is right now to delineate these roles and to avoid potential future conflicts. In addition to the valuing real estate and personal property, we are recommending the assessments division would include land records management and the administration of our exemption programs. Collections would manage our billing and collections responsibilities. We believe this gives us better segregation of duties and it will mitigate any future risk. During Phase 1, we advertised, interviewed, and ultimately hired a collections manager. Our intent was to find an applicant who would not only be a good fit for managing collections, but also who would serve you, our board, as an appointed collector. We wanted someone who could independently run the collections division, yet who could also ensure a collaborative relationship with the assessor and his division. We received over 40 applicants for this position, and after a rigorous interview process, found a candidate up for the job. Jennifer Pike is who we hired, and I will speak more about her background in a few minutes. In addition to hiring a collections manager, we worked on developing a leadership structure for the new division, one that reduced the number of direct reports to a reasonable number and formalized informal supervisory relationships. Ultimately, we believe this has helped better define career paths for our many tax employees. We are currently in phase 2. This has been exciting for me as I have had the chance to meet and brainstorm with all of the amazing talent in the assessment and collections divisions. The staff have owned this process and are excited to play a role in shaping the future of their respective divisions. I want to give Keith and Jennifer credit as well for understanding the importance of this phase and what it means for the future success of the organization. We are being thoughtful during this strategic planning process, ensuring we are developing strong objectives, creating smart goals. By being smart about it, we are developing goals that are specific, that we can measure, that are achievable and relevant, and finally, that we can put a time period on. This process has challenged us, but we know we are developing better goals as a result. We are just now starting to move into the final phase, which is managing for performance. As the organization becomes more sophisticated, we do a better job of collecting, analyzing, and using information. This allows us to make better data-driven decisions, which ultimately improves our processes by providing better feedback and allowing us to adjust to changing needs, and perpetuating the entire cycle of planning, performing, measuring, and adjusting. Finally, I want to say thank you to the board for assigning me the responsibility of evaluating the needs of the tax department. While I believe I am leaving the tax team in a better position for the future, I am also aware that this has had a positive impact on me as well. I've learned a lot. Most importantly, I've learned the tax team has strong leadership and an experienced, hardworking staff. I believe together we have made positive contributions to this process and have identified ways to improve service to our community. And I believe the assessment and collections management teams have embraced the changes and will continue to move down the path of continuous improvement. Now, finally, I get to the recommendations. Tonight, I want to recommend that moving forward, we split the tax department into 2 divisions, assessments and collections. Further, I'm asking tonight that you appoint Keith Miller as the tax assessor and Jennifer Pike as the tax collector. Let's start with Keith. Keith is no stranger to you. He has served in many leadership roles in the tax department, and you have named him the interim tax director. I cannot say enough how impressed I've been with Keith's leadership through this transition. I again want to thank him for welcoming me into the department and helping me make the tough decisions to recommend splitting the one department into 2 divisions. Keith is a pro, having over 21 years' experience in managing real estate assessment, land records, reappraisals, and property tax administration. He will serve the county well as the appointed assessor. As well tonight, I'm asking that you appoint Jennifer Pike as the county's tax collector. You may not know Jennifer as well, but I look forward to you getting to know her better in the future. Jennifer is no stranger to the county. She has worked for Buncombe County since 2000. I personally have had the privilege of working with her for most of my 10 years with the county. She's smart, trustworthy, and a hard worker. So much the hard worker that in the next few weeks, she will be completing her Master's of Public Affairs from Western Carolina University. While Jennifer may have fewer years' experience in tax, she does have many years of relevant collections experience, with many, many years involved in the finance department, managing collections for the occupancy tax fund. As well, tonight with your appointments, you are also approving 2 new job classifications, and those position descriptions are attached in your packets. These positions are your appointments, so you will hear from Jennifer and Keith regularly throughout the year, as they have a direct responsibility to you, the board. Administratively, however, they will fall under the leadership and supervision of county management. Because of its financial nature, the collections division will fall under the leadership of the chief financial officer. However, because it is better to segregate these roles, the assessment division shall appropriately be located elsewhere within the organization. This is still to be determined as the county manager continues to work on her broader organizational realignment. And now, before you take the vote and have a discussion, I want to give Keith and Jennifer the opportunity to say a few words, and we'll start with Keith.
Thank you, Tim, for those kind words. Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, County Manager, I first have to say something personally before I'll digress just a moment from tax, is that I thank you, Mr. Belcher, for the adoption awareness. What most of you, or probably none of you, know about me is I have 2 adopted children who both came from Mandy's shop, and I can say enough good about all the years that I have worked with DSS, with Buncombe County, through a foster parent and through the adoption process, and I thank you for that, Mandy and your staff. So a little bit of state of tax. You appointed me in July as the interim director, and I appreciate your confidence and your trust that you put in me to carry on that role as Gary left for retirement. I assured then the county manager that this would continue on, that we would have no hiccups, the citizens would be served, this board would be served, and I think we have found that to be true, that we have continued on, and things are, I think, great. Where are we at now? Just a little bit for you. We're finishing up, of course, the reappraisal. We have left about 10 appeals from that reappraisal process to go to our Board of Equalization review out of over 7,000. So I credit a great staff, a great trained staff that's got us to that point of working with our citizens to resolve those issues for them and getting us to the point that we are at. Also, briefly, just on the collection side, since July, what we saw is that we successfully got over 130,000 bills to our citizens without any hiccups there. We probably now are somewhere a little over 20% collected on that revenue that's out there for the county. And not to Tim put any pressure on us tonight with his presentation of what the collector's got to do for him, but we're happy to accept that challenge. And I think Tim's right. We're at a good place for this transition tonight. I think we have clearly discussed the reasons and why this department should be split between an assessor and collector. You're aware of those. I think the department is in a great position for a new collector to step in and take over, and let me give that to Jennifer, that she can move on and do a great job for you. I appreciate, again, your confidence and your trust that you put in me. I do wish to continue to serve you in the capacity as an assessor, and also work closely with Mandy and her management team to make sure that we do the best for our citizens. Just a couple of brief little things for you. I said you have a very well-trained staff there, and you have a staff there who's very concerned about the citizens of Buncombe County. And you know, that's the important part. You know, I stop them sometimes and I say, let's stop and think about why we're here, okay? And I remind them of that sometimes in meetings that we have. Why are you here? We're here because of the citizens in Buncombe County, and we're here to serve them, and we're here to collect the revenue it takes to do the things that this board does for the citizens of our county, and that's what we need to remember. I think you would find that if you were there every day in that department, you would see the compassion and the empathy that we have for people and how we try and work with them. Just a couple of little quick things for you. When you first appointed me as interim director in July, I quickly had come on my desk a foreclosure that was getting ready to go to the courthouse. And I looked at that and I said, something's not right, okay, because this shouldn't happen. Single elderly lady that's getting ready to lose her home that we're going to sell on the courthouse steps. And I said, I will intervene. So I myself went to her house and knocked on her door and talked to her. We worked it out, and today she's still in her house, okay? That's what we do for the citizens of Buncombe County, okay?
Thank you.
So, you know, just a few days ago, a citizen comes and says, I want to meet with you for a few minutes. He and his wife, probably 70 years old, never in their life has ever been challenged with paying their tax bill. But he's sitting in front of me in tears saying, you got to help me. You got to help me figure out how to just get through the next few months that you're not going to force collect on me. He left there, shook my hand, said thank you. His wife said thank you. They both left in tears, stopped and asked, can we say a prayer with you and your staff before we leave? This is the kind of people that we serve, and this is what the job's all about. You know, I know that we have legal things that we have to go by every day. We have to do law. You know, the law drives what we do every day. But with an assessor and a collector, what we can't forget is that compassion and that empathy that we should have for our citizens to make sure that we do everything that we can for them to make this the best place that it can be. So, questions?
just one thing, Keith. Just what you got through saying. The older people coming in, and you're giving them help, especially the lady on the foreclosure, but you have the other people. And that's what I've been trying to fight for since I've been here, because the people of Buncombe County, the older people, they want to keep what they have. But I do think the staff, your staff, and the whole package that are helping them be able to stay in their homes. I know they're having to make payments, but you know, we've got to figure something out. And one thing that I'm trying to work on with the state is get it to where it's not a $29,000 deal where they can take it up to 49, and then they can get half the rates on their homes. So, you know, I know there's 2,500 families or elderly people here that it's tasked them, and I thank y'all for tasking back to help them. So, thank you.
Absolutely.
Right, thanks.
Thank you, Tim. Chairman, Commissioners, I'm very appreciative of the opportunities that lie ahead of me and the challenges that will come. We have, as Tim mentioned, a track record of success, and there are several prime reasons for that. We have staff that is dedicated to what they do. We have over 80 years of experience among fewer than 12 employees. Not only that, but they understand the balance of their responsibilities. They're there to do a job. They're there to collect the taxes, but they also deliver the best customer service they can, and they deliver it in an understanding, respectful, and responsive way to our citizens. This goes a long way. We don't start the collection process when it's January 6th. We start that process when the bills go out. We're reaching out to citizens. We're trying to get them set up on a payment plan. We're working with them on their terms and to try to prevent interest accrual or them being late. That's our goal, and that has served us very well, and that's something we will continue to do. We're always looking for ways to help the citizens get their taxes paid on time and any additional methods we can offer. As Tim mentioned too, I'd like to step into, Tim mentioned we're heading into the busiest collection period. November, December, and January are when the bulk of the taxes come in. We want citizens to have a good experience when they come to see us. We welcome them to come see us. But I want them to come throughout those months. So start now, because we want them to have a good experience. I don't want them to wait in lines. I don't want them to experience parking shortages. So if they will come on to see us, it will be a much more pleasant experience for them. Do you have any questions for me?
Congratulations on your new job.
Thank you very much.
I've got just a couple comments for Tim. And one is, I do wish there was a lot of people in the room. You know, we have said to staff that, you know, you've done a good job on certain things, and, you know, a lot of that, you know, sometimes we've said maybe we've said too quickly without enough information, but great presentation tonight, very professionally done. I'm certainly proud of the information that I was able to receive tonight. I think it was delivered. I think we asked for certain things. It was delivered back. I've also served with Ms. Pike on the TDA.
That's right.
And that, you know, she did a fantastic job there. But I will say this also for the others that come on that board. They love our financial people that come and provide the information. They do a really good job. But so there's been some things just when we throw out there in the future, you know, to think about, you know, how can we get people to pay their bills faster? Is there a way to level out that cash flow? Can we provide benefits to the taxpayers? You know, in saving money, can we? There was a suggestion that was not a bad one tonight about, you know, different ways of looking at vacant property. Commissioner Fryer, you know, brought something up tonight, and so as we move through the next year, you know, I don't like the term out of the box, but let's freely think on how we can truly benefit the citizens of Buncombe County by reducing the stress associated with it. There's a lot of stress associated with this. We know that at the home. And we're okay with the stress up here, but reducing it at the homeowner level, you know, we could you know, there's a lot of ways that we could probably do that. So, you know, I would just challenge y'all to really be free thinkers when it comes to, just because we haven't done it in the past doesn't mean we can't.
Absolutely.
Can't do it, so. But good job.
Thank you.
All right. I think we need to adopt 2 resolutions.
Yes.
All right, so is there a motion to support the resolution appointing a tax
Will you have it? Oh, yeah.
collector?
So moved.
Second.
Further discussion? I'm sorry, we are going to take public comment on this.
Yeah.
Mr. Rice?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. It's always good to be old, you know. I remember when the tax collector was elected, Miss Elizabeth Taylor, and she served us well until a bunch of political commissioners got together and run her out of office. Literally, run her out of office, put her on retirement. This is a shame and a disgrace. That's the accountability that we didn't have then. Now, appointed people, I have nothing wrong with Mr. Pike and this fellow. Nothing. They're good people. But appointed, I do. No different than appointed school board members for the city. There's no accountability. None. The problem I have here is the school of government saying there's a potential conflict of interest. Where was the law back when they got rid of the tax collector, Miss Elizabeth Taylor? What was the law then and what has changed? I'd like for the attorney to update us here and give us some real information on why are we at this appointed position now again, instead of the political way of electing the tax collector, which would have been separate from the tax assessor. There was a lot of politics went on. I was right here videoing and talking to all these people at the time, and it was nasty and dirty. You think 2,500 was the limit today? You think how many people has lost their home and been destroyed in their lives, Mr. Fry? You just think about those people 20 years till now. What has happened? And I appreciate you fighting for these 2,500, because I'm one of them. You got it? And I'm going to fight as long as I can stand. So let's have the attorney answer the questions here. Why is it a conflict of interest now, but it wasn't before? Don't make sense, does it? A simple question here. It might be too complex tonight. You know, attorneys don't like complex questions. So anyway, I'd like to know what the conflict is. Would you get that answered for me? Thank you.
All right. There's a motion and a second. Further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed. All right, we need a motion to approve a resolution appointing a tax assessor.
Second.
Further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed. Great, thank you. Thank you to both of you for your service to the county. All right, we now come to the item that we added to the agenda, which is a resolution accepting an offer to purchase county properties located at 125 South Lexington Avenue. And Michael Frew will share additional information about this item.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, this is an add-on because I've been working with the proposed buyers for a couple weeks, and it just gets complicated when this is one of the few situations we've used a real estate agent, and when they were doing preliminary negotiations, they didn't understand how we have to comply with the statute. So they're making an offer for the property. It's a market offer of $613,500, which matches the assessed value by the tax office. And so to proceed with that, what we need to do by the general statutes is to have a 5% deposit. So they have signed a contract I prepared and sent the $30,750, which would be a 5% deposit for this purchase price. And what we need to do now, we'll run an ad and we have to wait 10 days and afford anybody the opportunity to increase that bid. Because it is a market transaction, we doubt that it will occur, but we need to follow that loop, at which point we will sign the contract and they hope to close this by December 18th. And so that's the reason this is an add-on, so we couldn't get it, and we just got this stuff in the mail this morning, so happy that you could add it on here. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to try to answer.
All right, thank you. So if we approve this, then we will start an upset bid process on this county property that's for sale. So if anyone else is interested, there's a process that folks can, but they'd have to offer more than the current
Yes.
interested party
Yes, they have to increase it by
has offers.
5%.
at least 5%.
All right, but that'll be an open process. We'll run an ad in the paper inviting anyone else who's interested to come forward and submit a counteroffer at least 5%.
Absolutely.
All right, thank you. Commissioners, any questions?
And the 613 is market value?
Yes, it had been listed at a higher value a year or so ago by the tax office. They
Right.
adjusted it down, and it's been on the market for, I don't know, the better part of a year. So we're glad to get the offer.
Thank you, yes.
Okay, is there a motion to support the resolution accepting an offer to purchase county property located at 125 South Lexington Avenue?
So moved.
Okay, and I'll open it up for public comment. Seeing none, further discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Frew. All right, we've got a couple of board appointments. The first is to the Health and Human Services Board. This is the optometrist vacancy. We have two candidates, Stephen Satterfield and Jennifer Partlow. The HHS committee by statute is required to make a recommendation to the county commission on this specific position. The executive committee recommends Jennifer Partlow, but it is a county commission decision.
I'd like to nominate Jennifer Partlow.
A second.
All right, any other nominations? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And then we have one vacancy on the Civic Center Commission. We have one current applicant, Eric Burns.
I'll nominate Eric Burns, and I'll thank him for sitting through the whole meeting.
All right, there's a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? Thank you for being willing to serve on the Civic Center Commission. All right, we've got just a couple of announcements. November 9th, there will be an opioid town hall meeting at the Black Mountain Library from 6 to 8 p.m., hosted by the District 2 Commissioners. November 10th, county offices will be closed for Veterans Day. And on November 14th, at 12:30 p.m., the County Commission will hold a workshop here at 200 College Street on the first floor conference room in downtown Asheville. Is there any need for a closed session this evening? All right. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right, we're adjourned.